Hey there, Internet Cube here, and welcome to the Cars and Cube YouTube channel. And in this video, we finally have the much hyped active short gun. We're going to put it up against the SGS28, which I've had for about 3 years now, and it's been amazing so far. Active sent me this for review, so I did not pay for this, but I'm not doing a commercial here, I'm doing a review. We're going to put it up against my favorite short gun and see how well it does. Now, why don't we put the SGS28 up against the active? Well, they're within $5 of each other. This is $80 on their website. It may become available on Amazon one day. Most of their products do. But normally when they're initially launched for the first year or so, they're always sold out or on back order. So Amazon isn't your best source for these. Their website is. I have a link below. But the SGS28 is about 85 bucks on Amazon. But these two are really the only two players in this space. That $75 to $125 range. There's nothing else out there. There is an SGS 35, which is more of a food grade quality stainless steel version of the SGS28, slightly bigger, more for commercial and industrial use. But for the house, the SGS28 is the way to go until the active came out. Now it has stiff competition, and they're not exactly alike. So they both play to people's favorites, and I really like that. That competition is good. I mean, you compare this to any spray gun out there on the market, there's really no difference in performance. So if you're looking to think that you're buying a Mossmatic, Active, an MTM, and you're going to get better performance, you're not going to. They're all the same. The nozzles is where the pressure and flow. The pressure washer is where the pressure and flow. What these are for is ease of comfort, ease of use, just making the overall washing experience better. Ergonomics, durability, like I said, ease of use. They're smaller, they're easier to control. The fittings are going to last longer because they're better. Those are the reasons that you get a short gun. So before we get any further, check out the links below for anything in the video. Like, comment, subscribe. Let's get to testing. Now, it's just differences in how they're built. A lot of this bulkiness here takes away from the opening here for your hand. You can see this huge opening here. This is for, guys that are 7 foot tall could probably fit their hands in here. You see how much more room we have in this curvature? I have room up here to slide between the bottom point and the top point. And the bottom point and the top point are nice and curved. This is rubber, and this does feel good in the hand. It is nice and ergonomic there. But when I'm squeezing the trigger, which pulls my hand in and compresses my hand, the fat on my hand is touching the bottom of that point and it's touching the top of this point. As you can see, the fittings on the active were designed much more to fit. On the SGS28, there's a lot of open thread. This is as far as this fitting can go in. The biggest difference you'll see between the two of these is how much more compact the swivel is on the active. This swivel is fully internal, and that QD is a part of that internal structure. On the SGS28, you have this massive bolt on the bottom. It's huge. They both have locking mechanisms that can keep you from pulling the trigger to make the water come out. And you can see how much further up the SGS28 goes versus the active. There's a lot of real estate that is being cut off. So overall compactness, it's really good. Mobile detailers, this is going to fit in a much tighter space in your van, bottom to bottom on the handle. You can see that curvature right there. And that's your angle difference. Now the SGS28 is a T15 Torx bit. The active is a number 2 Phillips. Biggest difference you'll see between the two as you first start out, the trigger for the SGS28 is just a plastic piece with a little metal on the inside to push this pin in that releases your pressure. Very simple, very easy. You see the swivel on the SGS28 is more down here at the bottom. Now on the active, the swivel is actually much further inside. It swivels about halfway up the assembly. So the SGS28, the biggest thing about this, it's all stainless steel, except for this brass piece, this end cap. This is what you would take off if you have any debris in here, if you may have a leak, or the trigger works weird, or if it's running without the trigger being pulled. A lot of times there can be debris trapped in here. Now here's the active, and this is way more complicated. As you can see, a couple things fell off. You have 2 ball bearings, a spring, and a little rod right there. There's your bottom. This right here, as you can see on the top part, there's this piece right here. This is where the click comes from. And I would say if you take out that spring and those 2 ball bearings, you can make the active an easy pull with no click. So if you don't want to click, you could take it apart. Back here on the back, the difference, this end cap is this brass bolt. Here you have a hex on the back that's kind of seated inside the brass assembly here. This is about the only short gun on the market that has stainless steel internals. Even Mosmatics do not have stainless steel internals. So when you put this together, you would think that this is really complicated. No, it's actually very easy. So when you put your piece back in, there's obviously a hole at the bottom. Same on this one, there's a little knob that fits it right into the gun. And then you would line up this piece right here with that hole. There you go. That keeps this on its little swivel point. And as you can see, easy pull. I put a ball bearing through this hole right here. I put my spring in. When I put the other ball bearing in and I put my top back on, that is when I get my click. Put the SGS back together, you just kind of pull up a little bit. You kind of put that trigger in that metal assembly. The little knob goes in the hole there, and this goes right back on. So I figured it's so nice, let's do this outside and not in the garage. It's about 65 outside, nice and overcast, perfect lighting to do a video. Hopefully a lawnmower or something doesn't start making noise in the middle of the video, but let's pull up Helen here. If you're ever looking to buy this and you see it in video, you see pictures, it is deceivingly bigger on those pictures and in those videos than it actually is in person. I know this is durable. The plastic is held up over time, but I will say the Active feels more durable. Like the plastic feels like it's a higher quality plastic. I don't remember how this was new. This is 3 years old and I just beat the crap out of it. I do that every car wash about 10 times and it's still kicking after 3 years. This one feels like it should be able to do that as well. Now in this video, we got to treat them the same, right? So we have to make sure that the Active gun can survive a klutz like myself. Now, this is already no longer new. It has scratches all over it, but it's plastic. It absorbs impact. It's supposed to scratch. We have hit the ground around the edge of this quick connect. We just gotta move a little bit of that dirt off of there. And at the bottom, we hit dead on the quick connect at the bottom. So we'll see how that mates up with the hose, but you can't baby these things. You're washing cars. These things get abused. Now, many of you watching this are most likely gonna be upgrading from your OEM gun. What's the reason you would upgrade this to the Active or the MTM? So this is from the Active 2.0. This is their gun. We have another stainless steel connection given to us by McKillen's. I'll leave a link below for that kit. All right, we have this hooked up to the Active 2.0, and I will show you the main reason that I don't like these guns. It's really long, but your control point is in the middle and not at the bottom of the handle. So already there's so much weight above your hand. Another reason is when I want to do the top of the car, I'm having to do this and the hose is coming out of the middle. So usually you would pull over your shoulder or you would hold that hose with one hand. Well, it's very hard to hold this gun with one hand and one hand on the hose versus what you would do with the spray gun. You're not buying them for their cleaning performance. You're buying them to make your life a lot easier. Now let's get down to business. Foaming the car, the best part of washing. It's therapeutic to a certain point. Some people agree, disagree, have opinions and this and that on the foam. I love it. And I use Incredible Suds by DIY Details. My current favorite right now, I don't even measure anymore. I just fill the bottom up and that's it. That right there is all the soap you need when you're using Incredible Suds. We have filled it all the way up to the max line with water. We have our MJJC SV3.0. It's the best foam cannon that I have tried so far. As you put that in there, click done. Basically a quick connect, quick release top. SGS28 gun. Now you're always going to feel a little wrist fatigue when you have a full-size foam cannon on the end, but now the hose is under your hand, the foam cannon is much closer. Try putting this at the end of one of those really long OEM ones or in the middle. It's just too much. Once you have the weight on there from the foam cannon, that's when the swivel really seems to work way better when you have a lot of weight on there. It spins much more freely. Like I said, you take this off, it doesn't seem to spin as well. Still spins though. So here's the Active, the swivel on it, to me just feels a little bit better without anything on the end of it. It spins a little bit better, and this one isn't broken in at all. It's still brand new. So here's it spinning with the foam cannon on there. It spins actually the same. There's no difference between the two. So the MTM, I need a little weight to get it to spin better. but freely this definitely spins better, and it spins the same when there's weight on it. So feel, actually, I'm thinking with the fact that my wrist isn't at about this angle, this feels like there's not as much weight, even though this weighs more than the SGS28. With the foam cannon, it doesn't feel as bad in the arm. Not bad. So we have the SGS28 with my McKellen's nozzle guard. I'm gonna rinse about half, just see kind of the angle I'm holding at and what I'm doing, see what the difference in the feel is. After being dropped directly on the quick connects on both sides, still fits just fine. The McKellen's is durable too. One hand, good to go. It is heavier, but when the hose is dead under it in your hand, you're holding it like this, it doesn't feel heavy. It doesn't feel any heavier. You have a lot of weight of water in the hose. You have pressure pushing against these fittings, and it just feels good. It just seems to swivel just a little bit better. I'm over here at the wheel. I have a slightly better angle, so I don't have to push my wrist down as much to get upward. Now, I will say the one biggest thing that the MTM has going for it is the trigger pull. It's like, it's effortless, and it takes no tension at all. Basically, I mean, there's almost no tension holding this trigger down. You just curve your fingers around it and it stays closed. You don't have to crimp your hand at all. That is good and bad, because I've accidentally triggered this many times because I didn't have any tension. Now with the active, with that click point, you definitely have to use more tension to keep it held closed. You can definitely feel it in your fingers. It's not that big of a deal. It's just slightly a little bit more tension that's needed to hold it down. It does, compared to most guns, it's nothing. But comparing it to the SGS28, there is slightly a little more tension there. Now the active, when I saw the videos and I saw them first playing with it and that click, I thought that's when it triggered. When I got it in my hands before I connected it to the pressure washer, I thought that click was what engages the water. That's not it. My Gilmore garden hose nozzle, awesome. Click, click. That's what I was expecting. I don't see the reason for this, because there's no linear action. Like, you're not getting half power, then you click to get full power. Now, I'm not bashing active at all. I'm nitpicking here. These are amazing products, and I have to try to find something wrong with them so I can at least point you in the direction that you want to go. Now, I actually took the ball bearing and spring out of this one, and we are now, without the click, much more comparable. Still slightly a little bit more tension, but way less than when it's clicking. And I feel less strain in my hand to keep it closed versus when the ball bearing and the spring and everything was kind of hitting those two pieces. They gave it a little more tension. Now it's just so freely. So I actually prefer the active now over the SGS28 just because of that. So you are altering this product, and Active's probably gonna hate me for saying this, but I don't do commercials for people who send me free stuff. I do honest reviews. Several companies wanted me to sign contracts saying I would say this and I would say that. I don't do that. You send me the product, you're going to get an honest review. Good thing for Active is they make really good products, except for their foam cannon. Everything else is really good, but I got a feeling that they're probably designing a foam cannon that's going to be awesome. Hopefully they'll reach out to me to get some insight on that. One bad point is the back, and don't worry, I'm going to take care of that. I'm going to take my Dremel tool and I'm going to smooth this out here, and I'm going to smooth this out here, and it's going to be the perfect gun. Just overall, they're amazing products. So I've given you the ammunition you need to make your decision. There'll be links below for both these, one for Amazon. I have an affiliate link for the Active as well to help support the channel. So don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Oh, dang. I don't know where that's supposed to be. I don't know where all this is supposed to go. What am I doing here? All right, we learned how to do this, huh? ball bearing, spring, ball bearing.